Morning, Raptor Freak. Sunday morning, we're playing the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight, starting a 6-game road trip in Cleveland, and then we head to San Antonio on Wednesday. Just a bunch of games out west, 6 games, and then we come back and we play the Lakers after the time change. This is going to be a grueling stretch. It's not going to be easy. And these 2 games we just had were probably the 2 easiest games we have all month coming up, and we lost them. So we really got to make some stuff up. Now, I know some people are overcorrecting and panicking a lot about how the Raptors are right now. And listen, this what's happened recently is not indicative of how we're going to go out for the rest of the season, y'all. Let's keep it calm. Fred's going to come back. OG's going to come back, and we're going to be playing at a high level again by the end of the year. Now, it's important that our guys have had time together throughout the season, and that hopefully when we reintegrate them back in the lineups, it'll be smooth and it'll be easy. In fact, I'm predicting that Fred VanVleet will be playing tonight, y'all. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Apparently, Malachi's hamstring is messed up, and he's actually on the injury report. And I think it's more likely that he gets sat and that Fred comes back and he plays the game tonight, because we really need him out there. This is going to be a very important game because, like I said, there's not a lot of games that are going to be easy coming up. This one's a gettable one because Cleveland's on a slide also. They've only won 1 of their last 7 games. They've lost 6 out of their last 7. And they're gettable. They've been losing to teams that have been having problems with lately. They've lost to Atlanta. They've lost to Charlotte. They've lost to Minnesota. They've lost to Miami. They've lost to a lot of the teams recently that we've had to face also. Detroit beat them also, and they've lost also. So we need to do really good today against Cleveland for a bunch of reasons. That they're 1 spot ahead of us in the standings. They're 2 games ahead of us out of the play-in. And if we can possibly start sending them into the play-in and us out of the play-in, that's fantastic. Another reason is that we have not beat them yet this year. That they beat us both times that we played them. One of the times was super embarrassing and we didn't have our regular team. That was when we had the 4 bench players, Fee, Yuta, and Chris Boucher, and then it was all the G League guys that we just called up, like DJ Wilson. And that was an embarrassing game and a really bad loss. So I don't know if you look at that game and you feel some motivation from that just because so many guys weren't there, but we need to show better. We just need to show better than them than the last game. And then the other game that we lost to them was another messed up game because we were beating them the whole entire of the game. And then they came back and won in the last 5 seconds of the game by 1 point. It was insane. Like that first Cleveland Cavaliers game, both those games pissed me off for different reasons. The first one, because we led the whole game, and then right at the end of the game, they fucking came back and beat us by 1 point. That was such bullshit. I hated that game so much. And then I hated the second one against them too, because we got blown out because of a talent gap that was extremely wide and vast. That in fact, that Cleveland game that last time we played them, we shouldn't have had to play that game. That game should have been postponed, and it could have been that we possibly should have been playing them 2 days in a row right now, today and tomorrow, instead of having to play them when we did the last time, because we did not have a real Raptors team when we played them the last time. Oh yeah, good morning, Banana Bread Tan. What's up, man? What's up? The old Budweiser commercial I'm alluding to there. Yes. OG in the paint would have been huge. G is pointing out another one of our main players that is out right now that is an important part of our defense, important part of our physicality out there, and that without OG Anunoby, our team is not as good. Yes, this is very, very true, and we need him back as soon as we can. Some of me is like saying, why doesn't he just play through the finger injury? He can play with it still. Just don't shoot a lot, OG. You can still play, but no, let's take a precaution. Let's think long term. Let's not get so worried about possible losses in the short term right now and worry about the long-term health of one of our best superstars. And you know what? When OG comes back, that's going to be a huge boost. That's what's happening with a lot of these teams in the Eastern Conference right now. We're having injuries on all the teams, and guys are leaving and missing time, and then they come back, and hopefully they boost their teams by the end of the year. Guys like Kevin Durant and people like that. Kyle Lowry, stuff like that. So yeah, Banana Bread 10 saying, yeah, we miss OG. Yeah, we miss OG for sure. Also, Banana Bread 10 is saying, hopefully Thaddeus is catching up with OG. Yeah, those guys have that prior relationship of OG playing on his AAU team, Thaddeus Young. And I'm sure it's been great having Thad on the team for OG, that he has another familiar guy around. He's been good in general just for being a leadership presence. We're hearing more and more from different Raptor players saying how Thaddeus has come in and taught them a whole lot, like just in a really short time. I've heard Chris Boucher say that. I've heard Precious say that now about how Thaddeus has been a very, very helpful resource as a veteran in the NBA so far. He's been on the team. It's been really good, really, really good. G's saying that he thinks that Nurse needs to go big. Well, let's think about this way. If Fred is not ready to go tonight and we don't have Malachi, well, that sounds like it's going to be a big point guard show with Pascal, Scotty, and Delano. Yeah, we're going to have to see those three guys be the ball handlers because we don't have another small point guard. And if and Fred and Malachi are not going to be playing tonight, then we're gonna see big guards, and maybe we'll see like a positionless scheme for the whole entire game where we're just playing 6, 7, and up guys on the court. There will be no short people on the court today. But I really hope that Fred returns tonight. Like, seriously, he's missed a few games now. He played hurt with it before. He took 4 games off last week, those crazy back-to-backs, the Brooklyn ones, and then the one that we fucked up really bad. And I think that Fred could be ready to go tonight. And that would be a huge boost and a huge help, because this is a big matchup. This is a big matchup for a bunch of reasons. They're above us in the standings. We haven't beat them in the season series yet. There's also the whole aspect of number 4 versus number 4, the 2 rookies, Scotty Barnes versus Evan Mobley. This is once again a showcase for Scotty to try and win the Rookie of the Year award against peers that are in the battle with him for it. And he has not looked better than any of the rookies in the last 2 games yet. So maybe tonight is a real good statement game for Scotty Barnes to come out, have a really big game, score a lot, and outshine Evan Mobley. Because these are the games where they're going to get judged for this kind of stuff. And so far, he's kind of been pretty even with Cade and with Jalen Suggs and Franz Wagner, but they've lost. So that's the difference, Scotty. Go out there and be great tonight, number 4. Be the great number 4 on the court, greater than the other number 4 in the wine and twine, and then go ahead and win the game. Because if you win the game and you have better stats than Mobley, that's a really solid argument for you being higher on the rookie rankings than Evan Mobley. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Banana Bread Tan saying, question. OG's next level seems to be about him asserting himself within the flow of offense. I wonder how much emulating Thaddeus's game would help OG assert himself in the flow of the game. OG's weird, man. He's had different stages of his career, whether it's his rookie year, his second year, and different things like that. His offense has changed a lot. Like, he's done different things this year that I have never seen him do in offense. And then really a lot of it's the low post, bullying around and pushing people around with his strength. I like that development. But also it's made him look clumsy, awkward, and a little weird out there at times, because he's getting used to how to use his weight and his strength against guys on his back. And half the time, these guys are letting him out and like letting him fall back, and then he gets a travel or something like that. He's really got to get more savvy about the physical contact and working with it and stuff like that. Because sometimes he tries to bowl through, gets an offensive charge, or he's trying to back down and the guy disappears and he falls on his ass. So he's learning a new style of offense that he hasn't really played. He was a slasher before. He was more like a three-point shooter slasher kind of guy. He's doing way more low post now, and that's a big difference and change for him. But I think part of the thing that's happened with OG recently before he went out was that finger was messing up his shot. And he was shooting absolutely horrible and not scoring very well before he went out. And I think it really was the finger. So I'm hoping that when he comes back, his finger's better. He'll be dead eye on his 3 again, because that in a way is more important than anything that he does for us offensively. The fact that he has a laser three sometimes that just goes through most of the time is a real big help and something we've been missing a lot while he's been out this recent time recently. But yeah, I think Thaddeus is probably rubbing off on him. Hopefully he's showing him more stuff around the basket to make easier hooks or little things around the basket with positioning with your body against the defender so that you can be more open, things like that. But yeah, I think it's all a plus. I think Thaddeus is finally starting to meld and become a really good part of this team and nice smooth transition of having him on this team, because there were some times like he's messed up on defense, he's made different errors, but he's starting to look more smooth. We got to see him again today after his sickness recently and see that he's ready. But yeah, I think that's a part of it. I'd like to see OG become a more all around kind of offensive player and actually be more aggressive looking for offense, because in some ways he's kind of the one who lets the flow of the game find him, but we're not actually calling his number. And then the other thing is, like, he's got to just really take care of the ball better. Like, I don't want to see him turning the ball over by dribbling the ball off his foot anymore, that kind of stuff, because he does do that. G saying Mobley has been hitting a wall lately. Yeah, his scoring is down. The Cleveland's having a hard time. They're really struggling in a weird way right now that I don't totally understand. I was looking at their box scores and I'm like, well, they're not missing anybody super key right now. Obviously, they've missed Sexton the whole season. But in Levert just went out recently. Let's do their injury report real quick. Levert is out or doubtful. He's doubtful for today. He may play today. And Rondo is doubtful for today. And then Sexton's just out. That's their whole injury report. So I don't understand it. They're not missing any key guys really, other than those guys I just mentioned. And Levert wasn't on the team before, so it's like we can play without Levert. And then Rondo, really, I know he's the Ricky Rubio replacement, but come on, what's going on with Cleveland? Why are they losing so much recently? And I hope Nick Nurse knows exactly why, and he's putting it into his plan for us to execute against them tonight. I'd really like to see that. I like you guys' idea of playing big tonight. I think you're right, G. I think that if we can try and match up against Allen and Mobley and see them eye for eye, those Twin Towers, will do good tonight. So that probably means that if we don't have Malachi or Fred in the starting lineup, then maybe we see Precious added to the starting lineup with Kem Birch. And it's more like a Pascal, Scotty, Gary, Pat Precious, and Cam starting lineup to match up exactly with those big guys right from the start. So that could be really interesting. The way the Hornets beat the Cavs with speed, outran their bigs. Okay, that's good information. So they probably did something similar to what they did to us last week. That they're really coming in blitzkrieging teams with their offense and just really coming in and just like making and putting pressure on offense in transition, defense in transition, stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully these are the kind of things that Nick, I know that they have a good game plan for tonight. I really feel confident because we're due a win. We hate losing, and we've lost too much recently, and they have lost a lot lately. So let's make them continue to lose, and let's get one game closer to them in the standings, in the sixth spot in the playoff race. Because that's all important right now. Every game's important for win-loss. We want to be at 42 wins or more by the end of the year. We need to continue to win games. We need at least 8 more wins to make sure that we have a 500 season for sure. And that usually generally means you're in the playoffs and that you will have a playoff spot if you have a 500 record in the East. That's what I'm thinking. All right, let's keep going. Banana Bread 10 saying, I like the questions, man. Keep them coming. Glad I asked this question. Thanks for the insight. What do you think his inside-outside game will look like going forward? I hope he does mix it up inside outside, because I feel like he's a little bit too inside at times too. Like, I really just, for in general, with some of these guys like OG, Scotty, Cam, I want them to be more aggressive. I want them to try and be like badasses, like be ballers and be like, I want to score 20 points tonight. I'm going to be the best player on the court and show it through my offensive game because y'all can't stop me. That's the kind of stuff I want from them, from OG, Scotty, and Kem, those 3 people specifically, because I feel like they shy away from taking shots sometimes, those 3 guys, or they just disappear out there. They're not trying to get the ball and force it. Scotty's getting better and better. He has a good reason. He's a rookie. He's just learning. But Kem, you cannot be this unselfish dude that you're just saying you're a saint and you want to pass it, everybody. We need you to shoot, man. We need you to take more part of getting the chunk of points that we need to get night in, night out, especially right now with the guys we have out for injury. And, when OG comes back, I'd love to see him be more aggressive. I want to see him try and go and get his own points, because it'd be really cool if he could average almost 20 points a game and be that consistent scorer for us. He's not consistent still. That's my biggest issue with OG. He's consistent on the defensive end. It was a great baseline. But if he could get to the level of being very consistent on offense also at the other end, and that we can count on him getting 15 to 20 points every single game, that would be great. But that's not totally there yet. Raymond Jacobs saying, I don't know about Kem. Pre-broken nose, Kem is MIA. Well, yeah, there's different ups and downs with Kem. We've seen how Kem is a really good positive factor on our team. When he plays, we win. When he is rebounding, when he's setting screens, when he's hitting those little baby hooks and little mid-range shots, we do really well. And right now, since he's come back with the face mask, he had trouble with his vision. He's taken the face mask off, and he's just not hitting his shot. So he's in a cold spot all of a sudden. We need him to get, like I said, be more aggressive. Look for your shot, Kevin. Take it when you're open. And we know you're a high percentage shooter. You're going to make these shots. So maybe you had a 1-for-5 game recently, and that's that. But you know what? You're going to have another 4-for-5 game real soon. I believe that. So I think that it'll come back sooner than later, Raymond. It's the same thing with all these guys. We're having different slumps and injuries at the same time, and it's making us not have enough water to pour in the big container to win these games. Is we just don't have enough water right now. And against Magic, it really showed. We didn't have any kind of offense. Our offense was awful on Friday night. We can only do better. And hopefully they clean a lot of that spacing things and stuff we were talking about yesterday up. Just clean up the spacing and make sure you're taking the best quality open shots that you work towards on your offense, the way you're moving the ball around. That's going to help y'all a lot, because I really do feel like y'all have made things more hard on yourself recently than you have to. Get back to the basics of team basketball and really play off of each other. That is what the Raptors need to do to win. They have to play off each other, utilize each other, and get open off of each other, whether it's give and go, whether it's screen, pick and roll, whether it's whatever you guys do to get free. Do it, and you recognize it and execute, because that's what we really need. We haven't had that good enough recently at all. Not at all. All right, let me see what's going on. You guys have thrown some stuff down here. G saying, yes, same thing they did to us, just fast transitions and running. First time I saw Cavs look slow. So maybe teams are just using speed to overcome their height. That's a good idea, actually. Those two big guys, maybe they are getting tired. Evan Mobley has a rookie wall. He can't get up and down the court as quick this late in the season. And really, like most of their little quick guys, like Sexton's out and Rondo may not be playing, then it's Garland who's doing most of the quick stuff down there. So, yeah, I like the idea of trying to mimic Charlotte. We could definitely put some more pace on how we get up and down the court and getting into our offense. That would be a lot better. Maybe Delano Banton needs to play more tonight just to kind of execute and get the pace up. Banana Bread 10 saying Pascal, Gary Trent Jr., Barnes, Thad Young, Precious lineup. Interesting. Instead of Kem in there, put in Precious and Thaddeus. I think Kem should still, at least just to begin the game, especially tonight, because it's two Twin Towers. It's Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, and Kem is our real center. He's our main big real center. So I think he's essential to play, even if people think he's playing like garbage. He's not shooting as well right now. I think he's essential to start, and then you throw in Precious or Thad next to him. And I think it'll be Precious just because he's ahead of Thad in the pecking order. And honestly, Precious kind of deserves in some ways to start over Kem in the starting lineup. So why not put them both in tonight if you're not going to have a little guard running out there? This is all contingent on whether Fred plays or not. Because I really do feel like Fred's going to play tonight, that he's seen how miserable and bad these last two games are, and he feels helpless sitting on the bench, and that he's like, you know what, coach, I feel all right. I need to get back in here and help you guys get the W's again. And that's why I have a feeling, I have a strong feeling that Fred is going to be dressed and playing for us tonight. I really do. Let's see what else is saying. And Andrew's saying, good morning, Raptor freaks. Good morning, Andrew. Let's go. Andrew, G saying, OG was that before Pascal. No knock on Pascal. He's amazing. Just think OG takes on a different role. Hopefully he can learn to balance both roles. G is exactly right. There's some of what I was just describing about OG is something he's shown before as younger OG. And Pascal's role has really shifted OG's role in a way off of like being a main ball conduit where the ball goes through him on offense and stuff like that. And that's not a bad thing. In fact, Pascal is the better offensive option overall. It's just how can we cultivate and develop OG to become more consistent and have more involvement throughout the game still. Because like we have, whether it's like us going to him right away at the beginning of games because he has a mismatch of size because of our positionless stuff, where he's backing down a guy and we get a really easy basket right at the beginning of the game like we have at times this season, that is great. And like he's going to get open threes and he nails them with that laser precision. That's great too. It's just we want to see him back on the court in general. We need his energy on defense and we just need scoring. So he can help with that for sure. But yeah, Pascal has kind of shifted him away from being a focal point on the offense to a degree. You're exactly right. Andrew is saying OG's defense is actually important to our offense. Even if he doesn't score, his deflections, steals, and perimeter defense forces turnovers, which fuels our style of offense. That is really good point, Andrew, that missing OG, maybe we're not getting as many steals and deflections and getting into transition, getting easier baskets. That OG in a way is good for a breakaway at some point, just from putting his finger in there and knocking it loose or something like that. And another thing that I like about OG is he's one of these guys on the court who's very super aware usually, and he's really quick to react. So if there's a loose ball, he's one of those guys that can try and get to it quickly. And we need more of that kind of awareness out there. Recently, it seems like there's been some balls loose on the court and guys aren't even paying attention. They're right near them. They could have grabbed them, but they didn't know they were there. There's been a few of those instances. I don't remember the specific players, but I remember seeing loose balls being near people and them not even seeing them. I'm like, what? The ball's right there. Grab it. That kind of stuff. Let's see. Banana Bread 10 saying Raptors are planning to be too big for fast teams and too fast for big teams. This is a good strategy. Really, it is because of our versatility, our kind of right in the middle average. Like we're not too big, we're not too small, just in the middle. Goldilocks and Three Bears, kind of just right. Yeah, but we can switch that kind of strategy compared to what the other team is doing. Like if they're big and they're a little bit slower tonight, then yes, let's go with our speed and our quickness over them and maybe our transition game beating them and stuff like that. Yeah, I like that kind of planning of utilizing a mismatch or an advantage that you have. Marlon Toby, good morning. Nick needs to padlock the gym with all the shooters on the team. Malachi, Svi, Gary, and Yuta, tell them to stop chucking up bad shots, especially Gary. Repetition is the key. Mamba mentality. Yes, Mamba mentality. A Mamba reference is always welcome at the channel of the Raptor Freak. Marlon, I can't disagree with some of this. I think that one of the things these guys need to do is they don't need to be hesitant. I think that with Svi going and getting a 40 piece the other night on the 905, Malachi showing and starting and playing more, Yuta doing better things out on the court, and even though Gary's slumping right now, all of these guys should have the confidence to take these shots and be aggressive taking them. Like I want you, Malachi, if you are going to play tonight, to not hesitate. Take that three if you're open. If they even give you a shine of daylight, you just take that three and pop it and hit it. Gary, we don't care if you keep shooting, you keep missing. I know some people will be like, why is he still shooting? He sucks. No, we want him to continue to shoot because he's going to get on the right side and get it into the rim sooner than later. And I want Gary to shoot out of this slump. So we need him to keep shooting. That's the only logical way to get out of a slump is to shoot out of a slump. And that's what he's going to do. And then Svi and Yuta, when they get their shots and they get their chances, they need to nail them. And you guys should have the confidence. You guys have played at a good level recently. And Svi, I want you to be a dead eye. Come on, really start proving us wrong. Really start becoming this three-point shooter off the bench that we've needed all year long. Because you can do it, Svi. Do it for Ukraine. Do it for yourself. Do it for the Raptors. You got it in you, buddy. We know you're going to do it. Mamba mentality is right. These guys need to be aggressive and go for it. Don't shy away. Know what you want and take it. That's what I want to see from our jump shooters, our 3-point guys. I'm a fun guy saying, hey, have you seen Batman yet? I've seen some of the clips. I saw one of the clips where he's in a church. It's Robert Pattinson. He looks all gloomy and weird. It's weird. It's weird seeing him as Batman, first of all. And the Catwoman, whoa, she looks sexy. She's bringing those Eartha Kitt sexy vibes for the Catwoman and stuff like that. It's going to be a good movie. It looks like it's very interesting take, little gritty, like the Batman Begins kind of era. I haven't seen it yet myself, but I'm the kind of guy that'll catch something on TV when it's dubbed and taking all the cuss words out on network when it finally comes out, or I'll catch it on HBO when it finally comes. I don't normally go to the theater or do any of that kind of stuff. Once it gets on Netflix, then I'll maybe see it then. But I guess I'm a fun guy is recommending go see the new Batman movie, y'all. Also, he's saying we need to sit Kem. He's awful, man. I'd rather Boucher or Precious start at the 5. I kind of see where you're saying. I think that part of it is, like I said, the mask messed up his vision for a while there. It messed up his shot. He wasn't getting rebounds. He wasn't seeing things around him that he should have seen. And now he's taking the mask off. He's had to face Detroit, super physical, and he shot not that great in the last week and stuff like that. What I want to happen with Kem is even if he doesn't shoot that much, like I want him to, or be aggressive in taking his own shots, because I know he can get them and he can beat guys down near that free throw line in the middle. We need it for a zone buster, just purely for that. But the one thing we really need him for is that screening, that wide screening, and what we're just talking about, these guys getting their jump shots off. Like, I don't understand why we are not using this again. This is a huge advantage of ours, and he's such an effective screener that we get such good wide open threes with Kem out there just turning his body and being a door and screening guys off of other guys. That's what I want him out there for. I don't give a shit if he's horrible at the basket. He could shoot 1 for 6 today, and if he screens us off and gets so many good open looks for our other guys, then I'll be happy, because he needs to at least do that. Like, I know one of the givens he'll give us for sure is the rebounding. He will for sure get in there, mix it up, and try and get us offensive rebounds and tips out and stuff like that. And that should be for sure, and the screen should be for sure. And then that stuff in the baby hooks and the little shots, the mid-range, that should be for sure also at some point. But it's not. It's going to come. But yeah, I still think this, like, he's our biggest guy. He's our only real center, and we're playing 2 centers tonight. So maybe not tonight we don't switch him out. That maybe we do if he does absolutely shit the bed tonight, then maybe we think about it for San Antonio. But that's the thing. We're going out west. We're going to start playing big teams. We may need to rely on Kem more than ever coming up on this trip, just because we got Jokic again, we got Ayton again, we got Pirtle, we got the Clippers, we got the Lakers. These are some teams with big guys on them, and we need Kem to show up and at least try and play good defense and rebound. If he's not making his shot, he's going to make his shot. He's a really good high percentage shooter for his career. It's just he's maybe in a little mini slump where he's kind of missing a little bit because things with the mask, taking the mask back off, different things, and adjusting and coming back. But I have faith in him. I think it'd be a big mistake to take him out just for right now. But if he continues to slump and he plays very poorly, I'm totally behind you. I'm a fun guy. I am, for sure. Let's see. Tom Duke saying, I had a crazy dream with Scotty and Lexi walking around. So bizarre. Both kept saying, let's go. Man, Scotty's cool as hell. There is something weird that I noticed and I thought about that could be very interesting. Scotty and I are alumni. We both went to Florida State. We're both Seminoles. And I spent a lot of time on that campus at Florida State where he went to his 1 year of university. And one of the things we have at FSU is a college radio station that I used to work at. V89, WVFS, 89.7 FM in Tallahassee. You can find it online and listen to it, stream it online. It's some of the best independent music and college radio in the United States. And on Saturday afternoons at 2 p.m., there's a show that I used to host called the Vibes House Reggae Jam. And it is a reggae show. I used to host a reggae show on Saturday afternoons from 2 to 5 on this radio station like 15 years ago. And the guy who I passed the show on to, who's still doing the show today, Yash Rush, Jason Yush is still hosting that show to this day. In fact, he hosted it yesterday. And I think Scotty listens to his show because, listen, it was on the radio in Tallahassee when he was there. And on Saturdays, that show's on all the time. And it's good reggae. It's like the best stuff. And Yush is fantastic on there. And one of the things that he does when he comes on, when he does the reggae show, is he shouts out his forefathers. He shouts out Ja. He shouts out everyone. One of the names he yells out is mine. Because I literally trained him on how to do this reggae show, and he's been doing it for 15 years since. I love you, Yush. I hope you watch my stream sometimes here. Maybe you're hearing me shouting you out. But I hope that maybe Scotty listens to that reggae show and he hears the Raptor Freak's name get called out at the beginning. Much love to Lexi and Saad. Every single week, he's been doing this for 15 years. And I swear, I heard him listening to Yush's show on Instagram yesterday. That I heard the music that Yush uses for his bed for the Vibes House Reggae Jam, and that maybe Scotty is a fan. He's listening to him. That'd be cool. But another really cool thing about yesterday was they dropped the second episode of Hustle Play, Chris Boucher's podcast, and he said he was going to bring in other Raptors and hang out with them and show real side of them between each other, and he did. Boy, did he. Because I watched that yesterday. It was fantastic. He had Delano Banton on the show, and they were really candid, y'all. They really talked about some very interesting things. They talked about the referees. They talked about Eric Flynn. They talked about playing for Toronto and different things and stuff like that. Really eye-opening, fantastic stuff from Chris, and listening to Delano being there and them palling around and stuff like that. They talk about music for a little bit. They actually talk about reggae and Jamaican music a little bit. It's really a badass interview. Once again, Chris really wide open about things. He didn't cuss as much this time, and he did keep the mic to his mouth this time instead of going like this. But he's like, you guys told me not to cuss so much, and he did try not to cuss as much in this one, which was interesting. But really interesting questions. And Chris straight up talks about Eric Flynn and what he did this season, which is hilarious and weird to me that he's being so open about one of his teammates' dads being a knucklehead. And he basically says that. He says that, yeah, his dad was being an idiot. It's so weird. And then he came real close to talking about which refs he hates. Yeah, they asked him. The interviewer asked him, he's like, how do you feel about the refs and which ones do you not like? And Chris really wanted to answer him, but you know what he said? I love he said this. He said, I'm getting good calls right now. I don't want to mess this up, so I'm not going to say nothing. And he's getting good calls off the rebounding positioning stuff right now, and he doesn't want to mess that up. So don't get any animosity from the refs by calling them out publicly on your podcast, Chris. That's a very smart move. And just honestly, you guys, just check it out. Hustle Play with Chris Boucher may be the best podcast that Raptors content that we've ever come, because he's going to bring in more of his teammates, and we're going to see them interact and how they pal around and how much fun it's apparently Chris does an impression of Delano Banton. Yeah, he likes doing. He impersonates Delano with his accent from growing up here in Toronto. It's hilarious, stuff like that. So, but yeah, highly check that out. And I did watch the Gary Trent senior interview recently that came out, and that was really eye opening. Also, like Gary's family, he comes from a real urban kind of family in Ohio, and his grandmother is like, as they put it, a booster. And it's not like a booster that's for like the college team. It like gives money and donates to the team in your college. This is a booster who goes to the mall and boosts stuff. Yeah. They started talking about that aspect of Gary's grandmother and very interesting, weird stuff. Like maybe a little too open, once again, Gary Trent Sr. about things, but really eye-opening to the way Gary Trent Jr. grew up and how his dad got him to this level of a basketball player and in his development from a very young age. Like Gary Trent, and I don't think these other sons of his are going to come into the NBA. I'm going to tell you that right now. Just from what he's saying, the next one up, the 13-year-old is not interested in basketball. He's more interested in football and martial arts, apparently. And, that may be tough. That's a tough pressure when you see your dad go in and your brother, who's 10 years older than you, go into to the NBA, that's a lot of pressure. And it may be that he's just like, I'm not even going to try, y'all. I don't want to try and live up to y'all. I'm going to just do my own route. So I wouldn't expect these younger Gary's son, Grayson, all those kids to go into the NBA unless they really get dedicated and work with him. Because that's the other thing. I love that Gary Trent Sr. is saying, I give them the option that if their heart isn't into it, I let it go and I let them be them. Because that's real important. That's a problem with hockey dads and different kinds of dads that coach their kids in different things. Is sometimes you don't give the kid an option whether they want to do it or not. And you come overbearing and it becomes a really bad aspect of your relationship with your kid. And it's really heartening to hear Gary letting go of that with one of his sons, because he's just like, he's not going to want to do it. And it's not his thing. So very, very eye-opening podcast, both of them. I highly recommend the Gary Trent Sr. interview. They did one with Muggsy. They did one with JYD. Now they've done Gary Trent Sr., these former Raptor podcasts, really good with the Carlos guy. And then, of course, Hustle Play. Chris Boucher, episode 2, out yesterday. They filmed it on Friday before they lost to Orlando, you can tell. And Chris talks about Detroit beating us on Thursday night in it, and he says the dreaded C word. Chris, you cannot call what's happening with Detroit the C word. We talked about this couple of days since we lost to Detroit, that this is not what that is. You don't want to use that word in sports. Talk to the Boston Red Sox. Talk to the Chicago Cubs. You do not want to use that word in sports. So, Chris, I don't like it that our own players are calling it that right now, that it is not a KCC, it's a Casey's revenge. It is not a KCC. We do not use that word. Please, Chris, stop using that C word. I even messaged him myself and wrote him and said, don't use that word. That shouldn't even be in your vocabulary ever again. Just like Masai Ujiri should never have the T word, tanking, in his vocabulary ever again. Chris Boucher, don't ever use that C word again. Please don't use that C word, because it becomes bigger than what it really actually is in y'all's heads. And it isn't that, y'all. It isn't that. They're just catching breaks against us. And yeah, it is true. Coach Casey has an insight to our playbook that no other coach in the NBA does. And that, yes, he is a step ahead of us because he was the mentor and he was the head coach above Nick Nurse. And he may know a lot of stuff that Nick Nurse knows because he taught Nick Nurse that stuff. So it really has to do with the relationship of him. Maybe the players get a little more motivated on their own because they know the history with Casey and us. And, they've caught us at bad times also. They've caught us at times where they've been lucky in some ways also. So let's keep going here. But yeah, that's a crazy dream, Tom. I have weird dreams too sometimes where I end up interacting with famous people. It's not necessarily the Raptors or something like that, and they seem so real and weird. But that's cool, Tom. I might have to integrate that into our real mascot matchup of the day. Why not? Let's just get it out of the way, y'all. So the last time we saw the Raptor, he was sitting on that front porch with that grandma eating cookies, and he was like, these cookies are good. He had trust in the world that everything was all right. This was grandma magic. Well, that magic cookies were poison. Yeah, they were poison because they lost. And man, he felt so sick when he walked away from that lady's house, and he's like, oh, she's trying to kill me. And like, he actually literally had to run into the woods and like go to the bathroom. But this is like a weird abdominal pain, like bowel movement where it's like, it feels like it's killing you as it's coming out. It's almost like passing a stone. If y'all know what I'm talking about, that people that know about that, they know what I'm talking about. And except it's coming out the other way and it hurts so bad. He's like, these cookies, they shredded my insides. This old lady, she was a bitch. She wasn't a nice old lady. And he's like in there dying, and like he finally poops it all out and he feels better and he gets up. But he does actually feel really a lot better, because when you get poison flushed out of your system, you can get a boost of immunity and feeling of like, I feel way better. Wow, my body feels better. So he was very cavalier about walking down the street now. And then all of a sudden he didn't see a semi truck coming up behind him. Yeah, he's walking down the street, dun 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 dun, just going down the road of the season. And there's a big truck coming behind him. He doesn't see it. He's being very cavalier. What will happen next? Ooh, same bat time, same bat channel. We'll find out next time on the Real Mascot Matchup. Next time, will the Raptors cavalierness get him in trouble with the semi truck coming towards him behind him, or will he step out of the way? We'll find out next time. That's your Real Mascot Matchup. I know. I'm just making them up. I didn't even write this down or think about this at all until just now, y'all. That is improvisation. That is stuff I learned at Second City. Yeah. So stupid. I'm sorry. There you go, Tom, dude. Just for you, buddy. All right, let's keep going. Banana bread tan. I like that lineup too. I hope Fred stays seated. Health over points. Long game will make the playoffs, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, if he does play, he doesn't play, it's going to work either way. It's really kind of the urgency of whether they feel like if Malachi doesn't play tonight, then we're really going to see Pascal and Scotty running the team for the most part tonight, and we will see more Delano Banton. But there's an interesting thing that's happening today. There's 2 games for the Raptors today, guys. The 905 are playing at 5 p.m. today, and the Raptors are playing at 7:30 Central. I believe it's Central, so they may be at 8:30. So we have a great opportunity to watch a doubleheader of Raptors basketball today because they'll go right into each other. Watch the 905 game starting at 5 p.m. and then the Raptors main roster after that. And what they did is they split guys that would be on either team because they're in separate cities. To go to different things. And I think they sent Champagny and Bonga to the 905, and Delano's still with the main roster. Obviously, if both our point guards are listed on the injury report, Delano's got to be with the main roster tonight. But I think Champagny and Bonga and Johnson, those guys are with 905 at the 5 o'clock game, and then the later game will have the other guys. And no Champagny, obviously, available for the main roster tonight. But yeah, if Fred doesn't play, Malachi doesn't play, then it's going to be a lot of big guards with Delano Banton also. So I kind of like the big lineup too, and trying the position list straight up tonight. But we really could use Fred. Obviously, we need Fred for these stagnant times where we can't get any points. We need that leadership near the end of the game to direct us to the win and knowing exactly what it takes to win NBA games. And that's something we've lacked in recent games is we don't have that guy that can close it out or get us on pace to be on line to beat them by the end of the game. And sometimes it's knowing when to pick things up and start coming back on teams if you're down. And you do it too little or don't get enough traction. You got to get that traction and keep moving and building up to get over. And we didn't do that against Orlando or Detroit in the last 2 games. And Fred would have helped with that for sure. For sure. G. Yuta has been a nice spark plug. He just needs to let the game slow down a bit. He will do something great, then a funny turnover right after. This is the way our team has been all year. In fact, earlier this season, I made the joke that our team is so talented that they fuck up and then fix the fuck up on the same play. Like we'll turn the ball over, but because we have such gifted and talented defenders, they go and steal the ball right back afterwards. It's like we could fuck up and then cover up the fuck up by doing something spectacular right after it. And, listen, I don't want to look at that turnover that you'd have had. That's a little small, dumb mistake. But for all the other things he did on the court, he may have done one bad thing. He did like 4 or 5 good things otherwise. So I want the confidence. I want him in there. He's proven once again in this last game that he just played, he's a dynamite stick. Nick, use him when your guys are flat. Use him when you feel like nobody's playing with the right kind of energy because he will stir that drink and make you guys get going. And we've forgotten this because he's sat so much this year that this is a tool and a role that this guy can have as a role player on your team, is an energy guy, is a guy who's going to get out there and hustle and get to the rebounds and the loose balls and show as a leader to the other guys. This is the kind of effort that Coach Nurse wants from them on the court right now. And that's why I want him to play. And he may be a break glass in case of emergency kind of guy. Where like, okay, things are getting real bad with our pace and the guys seem like they're really dogging it. Let's get you out there, put them in and let them show them how to go. And that's what I want to see him become more and more as the season goes on. That's what I really thought he would be, but we've been using all the core guys so much that we haven't used them in that kind of way. But we may need to now just because of the way we're struggling recently. Keep going. Raymond Jacobs saying, I think with winter ending, with spring near, the guys are going to play better, hopefully. DJ over Cam. Whoa. All right. Those are other differences there. Yeah, I think, it'll be nicer here in Toronto for sure. It already is much warmer today. A lot of the little bit of snow that was still in yards and shadows is starting to pitter down into the sewer water and get out of here and stuff like that. Yeah, I think that everybody gets a little energy boost from when spring and the birds come out and the little animals are like, they come out and they from their hibernation. Yeah, and I'm kind of glad that when they were here for this little homestand recently, that the weather wasn't super, super shitty and cold. We didn't get any real snowstorms while they're here, and the weather was manageable to be outside and stuff like that. There were bright, sunny days a lot of the days we were here. Because I really do think about that on the beats of their schedule when they're on the road and when they're here. If they're in Miami and there's a snowstorm here, I'm happy because we really want these guys to stay here. And I know it's cliche, and maybe it's something like as a Raptor fan, we're a little injured or hurt over the years that people don't want to play for our team because we're in Canada and the weather and stuff like that. So we're sensitive. And really, in reality, we should be just like all Northern Eastern Conference teams have the same problem. Boston, Chicago, New York, Cleveland. They all have the same fucking problem. So why are we so insecure about this? I don't know. That's a battle in my own head. Maybe I'll just stop talking about it because it isn't really a thing that we worry about the weather with the players anymore, even though they do complain about it. They do. I see them on Instagram. It's like, oh, I ain't having this snow. Oh, this cold. This is messed up. Stuff like that. Alistair's saying the bench is holding us back. It's like tug of war with the starters are pulling us to a deep playoff run while the rest are doing nothing but making OG and Fred come back premature. It's hard to argue your statement as far as the holding us back stuff. It's hard to say that the starters are pulling us to a deep playoff run. But yeah, the bench has really held us back in some ways, for sure, that we can't depend on them in certain ways. Like, I'd really love it if we could put somebody hungry off the bench that we know is just ready to score a lot. Like, that is the kind of bench player we really need, is a guy who's hungry to score and is capable to score and is an absolute proven scorer and is a threat in the NBA. A veteran two guard or three that can, a swing player that is a scorer mentality that comes in and does exactly that. That is the kind of player that I want them to pinpoint this summer, general managers, and get on this team that we need. That if we need to add a piece, that's what we need to add, is a Lou Williams kind of scorer kind of guy. Maybe not a specifically like you, Lou Williams, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. A player off the bench that just fills it up. There's just no denying it. This guy fills up the basket. A Vinnie Johnson, a dude that will come out and score no matter what. And yeah, I feel like that'll happen. I think that they won't come back premature. In fact, they're really being extra careful with them at this point. I think Fred could have just played through this. Like, he didn't have to miss these 4 games this past week, that he really was taking the, like, I want to not let this be a nagging injury for the rest of the year. Let's really heal it up so I feel better. But he could have played through this injury this past week. And they are being very careful, and they're not being premature with these guys coming back. Like, if they were being more like that, then both of them would be playing already, because OG can play right now. Fred can play right now. They're being overly cautious. And, that's good. That's good in a way, because it'll help us later. But it has hurt us in the last couple of games. Maybe they miscalculated. They thought, well, Fred's not in, OG's not in. Well, we're playing Detroit and Orlando. We should still win. Well, fuck, that didn't fucking happen. It sucks. G saying DJ is injured too. Yeah, it sucks. Like, the injury list for the Raptors is too long right now. We've even said when we finally got all fully healthy, we're great when we're all healthy. But when we're missing 2 or 3 guys, we are hurting. That our team can't handle that because of we have a good core, but we don't have a good bench. Just exactly what Alistair's saying. I'm a fun guy. I noticed Thaddeus is so amazing against zone. He just penetrates the middle of it so well and experienced. Yeah, I mean, we need that. We need. That's what I was raving about yesterday in the reaction to the Magic game. Is why can't we beat a zone? Like, isn't this like high school teams can beat zones? College teams can beat zones. This should be something fundamental in a basketball player, that they know how to beat a zone when they recognize it. Guys at the end of the street on the street ball games, they know how to beat zones, because when they put a zone on them, they know how to get to the open spot. So why the fuck can't we beat zones right now? What is up with these Raptors? It's a zone defense. There's a very tried and true fundamental way to beat a zone, so go do it. Instead of just having an idea what you want to do on the offense, Pascal, and forcing it down that side of the lane the way you always do, let's get some creativity. Let's read the defense and let's pick it apart. Let's pick it apart by making a really badass pass to a guy who's slightly open that they didn't see. Let's pick it apart with a mismatch. Let's pick it apart with screens and pick give and goes and screen and rolls and stuff like that. Use your mentality instead of just trying to run into a wall over and over again. Run into a wall, and bam, you're getting hurt and fouled, but you're not getting any whistles, and you're not making the lay-in. That's what I want to see, a change in how we're reading defenses and figuring out how to beat it like a Rubik's Cube. That's what y'all need to do. Oh, yeah. G saying that is good against his zone. One of the only ones actually knows how to cut. Yeah, this is the thing. He's been in the league for so long. He better know how to beat his zone. What is wrong with these guys? They need to show tonight. If Cleveland comes out and starts playing a zone to us tonight, we need to beat it. We need to show that we know how to beat it. We watch some tape on Saturday that knows how to beat a zone. This is just ridiculous to me, honestly, at this point. It's ridiculous to me that this look on defense is getting shown to us over and over again, and we're having trouble beating it. Because the teams are going to keep doing it to us until we do start beating it again. So we got to do that. We got to do that. Alistair saying, let's face the facts. The bench sucks and it won't change, but we are desperate because of injuries. But starters need a break, because if not, we will be done by playoffs, and that will be why we don't get a ring. Okay, there's a lot of different timelines you're working with right here. The bench does suck. That's something that will be easy to retool and fix. You take a couple guys off your roster, you bring in new blood, new guys that maybe are more capable and more established in the roles that you need to fill. And then, the thing about the injuries with the guys and stuff, they're being really careful and stuff like that. Like I was just saying, Fred and OG could be rushed back. They're not going to be rushed back. And, this is what it is. There's just kind of like next man up. Somebody's going to have to show up. And maybe we keep doing this next man up. They don't show up the last couple games. Maybe somebody will show up tonight and have a good game and be a big time hero for the Raptors off the bench. Wouldn't it be awesome if Feig went off and got 20 points tonight for us in this Cleveland game? Or Yuta got like double digits, close to 20 points. Thad Young get close to 20 points. Just somebody goes above and beyond with their offensive game and helps carry the water that Fred and OG would help carry when they're in this lineup and stuff like that. But, the other thing I will say about your statement here, Alistair, is about the ring thing, is that the ring thing isn't for this year, probably. And this is the thing. This is development. The ring is a long-term goal, and it could be in the next 2 or 3 years. And that's the thing we got to think about, that it's all working towards that. And there's ups and downs. And the ring thing is very highly probable and will happen. I believe in this. We're building towards it. We have an architect that has an idea and a schematic in his mind, and that we're working towards it, and that they know what they're doing, and they're going to give us the best possible opportunities from the management wise position. It's just going to be execution and our guys learning and getting better and more better as young players. And it'll get us to a ring eventually. These guys are going to get so good, we're going to have problems where we're going to have to figure out who we need to re-sign. But hopefully the curve and the overlap of them getting better, it still gets a ring before that. Because in some ways, if you think about it, these youngsters, if they do really well and get a ring young, that's going to set them up for better paydays down the road. And even if we only get one ring with this core group now, that when we get other new players come in, with keep some of the core group, some of them have to be let go. We bring new blood in, and then we start a dynasty era, kind of like the Spurs, when we have new blood coming in. We keep some of the regular guys, like maybe Pascal and Fred and OG, are regular guys that stay, Scotty too, and then other guys may be coming and going, and we just keep bringing in new talent and refreshing it over and over again. Yeah. Banana Bread Tan saying, I love hearing these antidotes. Put a reggae mix together. Yeah, man. I love music in general. I mean, on that radio station, I used to host a blues show. I hosted a heavy metal show. I hosted the club show. I hosted all the different genres. I was a pretty multifaceted DJ. And I did it for 10, 15 years. I have a lot of airtime on FM radio in Florida. And stuff like that. But yeah, FSU is such a fun, interesting place. And I'm glad that I have that connection with Scotty, that I really am a Florida boy too, just like him and Vince. And I do understand Florida life and the way these guys are compared to being here in Toronto with the snow and everything like that. Stuff like that. Andrew saying he can't wait for the Boucher Will Lou interview. Yeah, he said straight up. He said Boucher said Will Lou, you come and sit down on Hustle Play with me, then I'll come and do your show also. And I think that's all going to happen. I mean, you'd be an idiot not to do this, Will Lou. You need to go do this and get this stuff done, because that's an NBA player. That's Chris Boucher challenging you to come be on his show. You better go do the Hustle Play, and soon, buddy. I'm a fun guy. Oh my God, I love Alexi's experience and life stories. Crazier at FSU, man. I have so many good FSU stories. I was, as I worked at the radio station, I was actually head of the sports department at the radio station also, and I used to get press passes to FSU games, like big football games, and these were in the '90s. Like the year we had Chris Winkie, and he was the Heisman, and we won the national championship in like '98, '99. This is when I was a senior at Florida State, and I went to that Florida State-Florida game where we won. And we tore down the goalposts and ripped up the field and all that kind of stuff. And I was on a press pass. So I was in the locker room interviewing the players afterwards, interviewing Bobby Bowden, and doing all kinds of stuff like that. So, yeah, I have a weird history of experience and stuff like that. And FSU, yeah, that was my hometown. I grew up in Tallahassee, so I was a Seminole as a kid. Went to a lot of FSU games back in the day with, like, Deion Sanders, Warwick Dunn, Charlie Ward, all these different old great Florida State Seminoles that came through and stuff. And I was a big fan of Florida State, but then the Jameis Winston stuff happened and different things happened with my university. I think that they take money from the Koch brothers and they're diverting and deciding what can and can't be taught in school. And I hate that. I hate when conservative donors dictate this curriculum for professors at universities because of their donations. That's fucked up. So I don't support my alma mater anymore. I don't proudly wave any garnet and gold anymore or act like I'm a Seminole, because I'm kind of disappointed in my school overall. I'm disappointed with the hunting ground documentary with Erica Toothman or whatever her name was, she was assaulted by FSU football players, and it was covered up and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not a big fan. I'm not a booster of Florida State anymore. I've turned my back on them. I don't follow them. I don't care about them. I only care about their basketball team, to be honest. I don't care about their football team at all. I care about their basketball team because they've been bringing such good talent into the NBA recently. You look at Devin Vassell for San Antonio. You look at our guy Scotty. There's a lot of good FSU players in the NBA right now. And I should pay more attention to the basketball team because it seems like it's a good pipeline for NBA talent right now. Like Jonathan Isaac, that's another guy. But yeah, Tom Duke saying both Gary Trent Sr. and Boucher don't really have a filter. Both live crazy lives. And let me see it jump. Let me make sure. Live through crazy times in their youth. Yeah. That's the thing. Maybe this is the fun. We're in the same club. We're all unfiltered. We're going to speak our mind. We're going to tell it like it is. We don't give a shit and stuff like that. Like Chris is really like that. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to be myself. I'm going to say what I want to say. And I love that about him on his Hustle Play. And one of the things he said in it also yesterday when I watched it was, he really likes people that disagree with him. He really likes people that challenge him. He doesn't want yes men around him. He doesn't want people that are just going to tell him what he wants to hear because they want to be his friend because he's in the NBA, he's 7 feet tall, and he's cool. He wants people around him that will tell him like it is. If he was around me and I was like telling him like, Chris, you're doing great, rebounding, but if you just tried to do this a little bit more, he probably respects somebody who gives him more information to improve than somebody who's just gonna kiss his ass. And I really respect that about Chris and stuff like that. But yeah, highly recommend this. Go watch it today, like right away. The new Hustle Play with Chris Boucher, really good stuff. Really good stuff. All right, let's keep going. Raymond Jacobs saying, if Detroit always last seed, will Casey not be fired eventually? Casey, see, this is the thing, and this is part of the reason why we fired him. Casey is a very specific type of NBA coach. He's a really good developing coach. He's really good for young teams like Detroit to help them build to get to a playoff team, to become a better team. That's what he did with us. He helped build Toronto from being it's nobody to being a regular playoff team year in, year out. And it was with him and Kyle and DeMar, of course. But that's what he's good at. At a certain point, when he gets in the playoffs, a certain amount of times, he's shown that he has a wall. He has a ceiling that he hits and that he just can't get past. And maybe his name was LeBron. But I think that, he's great for this, and they give him a lot of time with this because they understand that he's actually making progress. Is that, that's the thing. Coaches don't necessarily get judged on their win-loss record. They get judged on how the players are developing, whether they're making strides, whether the team believes in the coach. Like that's what happened with Luke Walton earlier this year. Is they stopped believing in him and they fired him. That's the thing. You have to have your team behind you and believing in your goal and your vision. Is if you lose them on that one, then you might get fired. And that's the thing. Casey has not lost any of the Pistons on his vision. All those youngsters in Detroit love what he's teaching them, and they're getting gains in development. And that's what's going to keep him from getting fired, is that the players still buy into his system, and that he is like, even if he loses a bunch, they're showing progress in certain ways. Like whether it's like the players individually, that they get to that hump to add up. That's what I'm saying. The difference between us and Detroit and Orlando is not that different. The only difference is that we're winning in doing that. So we're ahead because we're basically the same kind of team as Detroit. We're basically the same kind of team as the Magic. We're a bunch of new young guys who are learning together, but they're so talented and they're so good that we're still a playoff team. That we easily could be a bottom dweller, like a lot of people wanted us to be and picked us to be. But because our talent is so good, we are still a step above that. But we are still kind of in the same mode as them. So understand it from that perspective and really realize how much ahead we are. Because we could be Orlando, we could be Detroit, because we're the same kind of team, really, in actuality. All right, let's keep going. Awesome, Tom Duke. G saying, I think Champagny is injured. He's not on the list. He's gone to the 905. He's going to play on the 905 today because, like I said, they're both playing today and they're in different cities. Like the main team's in Cleveland. I'm not sure where the 905 game is at 5 o'clock today, but he's been assigned to the 905. He's just been diverted to be on that squad today. And I haven't heard anything about him being hurt. I think he's just been held out recently. Like Nick's been wanting to play the other bench guys ahead of him right now, like Yuta and Svi and Malachi, and that Justin just hasn't been in the mix in that way. And Delano, to an extent, also he hasn't seen as many minutes recently, with him trying to resuscitate and revitalize these other bench dudes all of a sudden. Andrew saying, I'd rather live through a cold Toronto winter than a cold winter in U.S. City because apparently American buildings aren't equipped for the cold. Texas. Yeah. Andrew, you know what? I can tell you for sure, having lived half my life in Tallahassee and half my life in Toronto, that it goes vice versa. Up here, we don't have the same kind of air conditioning that they have in Florida. Florida, they have really good air conditioning that deal with the heat. And then when we get really hot up here, people can't deal with it as well because we don't have as well air conditioning. And it's vice versa. They don't have as good insulation and heating in their houses down south. So when they get a cold snap, it's really cold and they really suffer for it. Whereas we're used to it. Our buildings are all built with the extra stuff and winterproofed and all this kind of stuff. And down there, when they get a super cold snap around Tallahassee, boy, people really freeze to the bone. Because not only that, it's not like we've talked about this a little bit with the difference between a winter in Manitoba and the difference in a winter in Toronto. Is in Manitoba, it may be like -20, but if you put on a good heavy coat and you have yourself covered up, you can cut the wind and you can stay warm inside. But here in Toronto, because of where the lake is, we get more of a humidity and a moisture in the cold air that will chill you to the bone a little bit. Like you could be wearing all layers and still feel cold inside because it gets to your bones, the humid cold. Well, in Florida, in Tallahassee, when it gets to that freezing level with the humidity there, it is absolutely bone chilling cold. Like it really gets to your bones. As much as it gets to you here in Toronto, it's like 10 times worse in Tallahassee. So when it gets really cold down there, they have no way of dealing with it. People don't know how to deal with it. And then in the vice versa, in the northern cities, when we get heat waves in the summer. People die because of it because we don't know how to deal with heat waves. So it is a real kind of, for me, I've always preferred the cold weather. I mean, my family's from Estonia, Sweden, and Canada. So I'm a cold weather like person from my history and my ancestry. So, and I don't mind the hot and the humid. I grew up in it. It's something, getting into a hot car after being in the mall for 2 hours on a hot August day is very interesting. It's like getting into a sauna. And also, you sit on that seatbelt in that kind of car, you're going to get a little bit of a Terry Funk Brandon on your ass. Oh yeah. If but yeah, that's the interesting dichotomy between the North and the South, is that we really don't have the best means for heat waves here, but they really don't have a good means for like cold down there. It's the extremes and stuff. It's very interesting. I'd rather live in Toronto, and that's why I live in Toronto. I don't want to live in Florida. It's crazy down there, and especially in the Trump years and everything since. I'm really glad I live in Canada again now. Oh yeah, Criscom. Damn, health is our main Achilles heel. Looks like Flynn has figured it out. Just need full health. We could send Gary Trent Jr. to the bench. Don't say that, Banana Bread Tan. All right, first, Criscom. Yes, health has been an issue for us a lot this year. This has been an issue for a lot of teams. I mean, we've had the whole mix of the COVID stuff in the middle here too, and different things like that. There's been a lot of people missing games. Like, I don't even know where we rank in the NBA as far as players missed games, like as far as injury. And we may be pretty high up on that list comparatively in the whole NBA, because I don't know if they count people like Ben Simmons and Kyrie in that. That'd be silly. But yeah, that we've missed a lot of player games because of injury this year. And it has hurt our consistency and our cohesion from week to week and stuff like that, for sure. Especially seeing it right now. Banana Bread 10, I do not agree with Gary going to the bench at all. You've got to realize the history of him with the Portland Trailblazers and how bad it was for him coming into games. That Gary Trent Sr. said it again this weekend in his new podcast, that Gary got jerked around in Portland, not knowing whether he was going to play or not on certain nights, whether he was going to start or not. And we don't need to do that to him. He's established that at least on the defensive end, he's going to give us some really good things, like just from his pressure and steals and things like that. So even if he's not making his shot, it's not going to kill us too much. We'd like him to make his shot for sure. But no, we can't bench him. He's just too important, and we need him to get going. It's kind of like your car won't start, and you got to keep just trying to crank it. And hopefully you don't kill the alternator, and you just keep it cranks and it gets going again. We need to keep trying to crank his car and get it going again. We can't give up on it and leave it in the junkyard. We got to get him going. He's absolutely essential to our success as a team, and we can't leave him behind. All right, let's keep going. All right, Sadur Shan Rajaguru, Raptors will lose. Just a blanket statement. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, you are the kind of fan that I love to have come in here because, gee, you know what's going to happen right now. Listen, we don't know if they're going to lose or not, buddy. Listen, Cleveland's been losing just as much as we have lately. And, I don't like these kind of fans that come in here and say this. This is not what we're about. We are about winning. That's what Masai Ujiri says his team's about, winning. Scotty Barnes is about winning. Fred VanVleet is about winning. Justin Champagnie is about winning. We're about winning. So don't come in here with your garbage like that. This is your first statement from me today, is Raptors will lose. Well, that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about how the Raptors are going to win tonight. We don't talk about how they're going to lose. And you said Fred VanVleet is questionable. Tell me something I didn't already know. Yes, we know Fred is questionable. But I'm going to tell you right now. That Fred VanVleet is probably going to play tonight. I bet you money, Sadura Shan, that he will put on his uniform tonight. He will get out on that court, and he will try and save this team from being more of losing. And that when you just come in here and you say Raptors will lose, I want to see what your next comment is. You get 3 comments. First one, negative. 1 strike against you. Second one, that's informative, but already known. Let's see if you have any more to say, and then I'll decide on how I want to treat you. All right, let's keep going. G saying, I don't know. Knee injuries can lead to tendon tears. Well, this is the thing. The nature of Fred's injury is not like it's not a tendon injury. It's not anything like that. It's a very similar injury to what OG had with his hip pointer earlier this season. It's just a really deep bone bruise. It's a bruise that goes into the skin and into the bone, and it hurts. That's what it is. It's pain. It's not like a strain or a break or anything like that. It's a bruise that hurts. and he's trying to heal it. And it's similar to what OG had with the hip pointer earlier this season, that they just want the bruise to go down and to stop hurting him. And hopefully, I mean, it sucks that it's taken this long, but it must have been a really deep bruise. So that's the kind of injury that it is. It's not anything that's strained or pulled or broken or anything like that. It's not anything hurt. It's just a bruise. He got hit in the knee, probably went knee to knee to somebody, and it really messed up his like a bruising. So everything structurally is good in there. I know you think Lou Dort is short for what they do to, but I am throwing it out there. He is an unrestricted free agent this summer and a great two-way player. And he's Canadian, and I do like him. Let's not get it wrong. It's just I think because of Bobby and his template and how he's looking at which players he wants to bring in, like Thad Young and DJ Wilson, is that he has a height requirement at this point, that he wants them to look positionless and be interchangeable with what we're doing with our overall core right now. And I think that's the difference is that. But hey, I'd love to have Lou Dort. He's a baller. He has a really strong Mamba mentality, and he's Canadian. We'd love to have him on here. Add more Canadians anytime. I'd open arms and stuff, but I don't know if it's a reality just because of what Bobby's parameters for how he's selecting guys to come here are now. Alistair saying the only concern is when OG and Fred come back, it could be too late if we can't hold 7th seed and would have to play Miami or someone. Yeah, timing is going to be important here. That's why I hope that OG's a little ahead of the 2 weeks that they're saying. I don't think it'll take him the full 2 weeks. I really hope that maybe he'll show up around the Laker games. Like that would be really good boost if we could see OG show up maybe for the one here when they get back from the West Coast road trip. But this is the thing. If they thought OG was for sure going to be out for 2 weeks, he wouldn't be going on this road trip with them. He's going on this trip with them. And to me, that bodes that maybe he could get cleared and get out there at a moment's notice, possibly, just because he's with them, present on the trip. So, and we know Fred for sure, he's going to come back way sooner than later. The timeline has not been released for Fred because it's really day to day. It's not a long period of time. That's why when they say indefinite, it doesn't mean it's going to be for a long, long period of time. It just means they don't know exactly how long it could be. It could be very short. It could be very long. But I think it's going to be shorter for Fred. He's already missed 4 games, and it's not like him. He plays hurt most of the time. And maybe that's part of what they're trying to time it is they want to figure out the balance between getting him as healed as possible and how long they can hold out not having him back in and still save the season. So it's that, yeah, there's a little bit of a balance going on there with when they come back, these two guys. Jimmy Pope, good morning. Always good to see new names in here. We do a live stream every single day about Raptors happenings and going-ons. Today we're previewing the Cleveland Cavaliers game tonight. Yeah, let's get those Cavs and beat them down. Jimmy's saying we're obviously not ready yet, but we'll be there soon enough. Yes, this is the perspective we all have to take. We take short-term perspective, long-term perspective, and we figure it out. The short-term perspective is to continue to win and get healthy right now, to get these youngsters into the playoffs and get a little bit of a taste of the playoff experience for Scotty Barnes and Precious and these guys. And, you know, that the long-term goal is obviously to get a championship and that we will get there soon enough. I believe it, that we're fast-tracking compared to other teams. That, like I said, we could have easily been like Orlando right now, but we're better than Orlando. We're on the fast track. We got more talent. We have more ability, and we're going to get there quicker because of the caliber of players that we have on our team and the scheme, the plan of how we're doing it is genius. This positionless with the flex offense is really, really smart, and I believe in it. I don't want to give up on it, and I want to see it more next year. And if we keep building on it and getting more used to it, the better and better we're going to get. We will get there. I believe in that, Jimmy. I totally believe in that. And let's watch it happen and enjoy the process, because sometimes it's not the destination, it's the journey. Oh, yeah, I'm flaky and cheesy like that. I'll put those sayings in there. But it's true in this. Sometimes it's the journey. So let's enjoy the journey, y'all. Top of top 21. It's not only his shot, it's his D. It's his movement is mashed up. Love your channel. Raps fan since day one, game one. All right, top of top. Thanks for the compliments and stuff like that. I'm not sure which Raptor you're talking about right now. With it's not his shot, it's his D. Maybe Gary Trent Jr. You're saying like that. maybe his movement is a little mashed up. I thought his defense was still pretty good. Like he's giving good pressure. He's still getting his hand in there and trying to deflect and knock balls loose and stuff like that. Because that's really like with him and OG, it's a similar thing. They have that baseline, really good defensive pressure and coverage that they can do. The offensive stuff is like helpful, obviously. And with Gary, it's more important. But at least, even if he's struggling with his shot, as long as he's playing absolutely great defense, I love him being out of the court, even if he's missing his shot, because we know he's helping with the defense in a major way also. So, and I really appreciate that compliment. I hope you'll subscribe, top of top, and share and tell more of your friends that are into the Raptors to come find me, and we'll talk positively about the Raptors. There's no Debbie Downers here. We're not talking about the sky is falling, Chicken Little. We're talking about the Raptors getting to the next Larry O.B., that second championship for the team, and when it's going to happen, and hopefully it'll happen sooner than later. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Banana Bread Tan saying, all right, I got jumped ahead. Let me make sure that I keep right here. Alexi is a Florida man. I'm not going to lie. I actually went to Second City, Banana Bread Tan, and I used to write sketch comedy. I used to write comedy. I really learned from one of the greatest, Paul Bellini. He was a writer for Kids in the Hall. He's a mentor of mine. He's a friend of mine. To this day, Paul Bellini is my buddy. And I learned how to write comedy. And there was a character that I made called Florida Guy. It was like, actually, what was his name? It was Florida Person. His name was Florida Person because he was woke, and he was very like liberal and very progressive minded with his politics, and like very like enlightened to woke culture and being smart and like being a progressive person. But he lives in the middle of the woods in the Apalachicola forest, and he's a oysterman, and he lives around nobody. But for some reason, even though he lives in the middle of the swamp, he just understands how life should be in the right way, even though he looks like a inbred hillbilly coming from the woods. Florida Person. He won't call himself Florida man because he doesn't see gender. He calls himself Florida Person. So he's like he's like a way woke hillbilly. It was a weird character. I didn't really get off the ground, but yeah, I had a character called Florida Person, and yeah, I love the whole concept of Florida man and the craziness that Florida people do. I've been that Florida guy. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I have a crazy past. When I was drinking and I was an alcoholic, I used to have the police chase me. I've been in some high-speed chases with the cops coming after me with headlights and all that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, I've outran them before, actually. I drove my car through a trailer park, all up in the grass, in between the trailers, and all over the place in Tallahassee to get away from the police once, and it worked. So yeah, there's a little bit of crazy stories we can get into, like the Raptor Freak uncut, unfiltered stories of my past. They're real crazy, real crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I am a Florida man. I earned that card. I'm not gonna lie. I've been to Florida jail. I've been in there with them. I know what it's like. Oh yeah. Raymond Jacobs saying 2023 Raps first seed, no doubt. I love this attitude, Raymond. We're a little ahead because we don't want to say, oh, there's always next year right now yet, because we still have a chance. But I love that attitude, and I feel like we could probably do that. One of the things about the East this year is it's so wide open, so clustered. There's no definitive top dog in the Eastern Conference right now. So somebody's going to have to come and take that crown next year. And Brooklyn probably thinks it's going to be them because they got Ben Simmons all of a sudden, and Philly with James Harden, and Miami with their all-star crew, and like all these different teams. They're going to want to be that guy with the crown. It was supposed to be Milwaukee, but none of them have really taken and been the head and above and beyond top team like Phoenix is in the West. So next season, let's be that team. Yeah, Raymond, let's be that team next season. I love it. I love it. Monique is here. She has retracted and redacted her statement. I do not know what she said, but please comment again. Banana Bread Tan, yikes. I like that perspective. We are like Detroit, but more talented. This is why we didn't trade for a big piece. The league sees our talent and they wanted to poach us, so we kept our talent. Yeah, we got to keep in perspective. We were classified and categorized as being a team with Orlando and Detroit at the beginning of the year, and that we're just badasses. That Scotty Barnes is a way better rookie than anybody thought. That Fred and Pascal are legitimate superstars in this league, all-stars, and they are go-to guys, and that we are better in a lot of ways than these teams that we just lost to. It's just perspective, that in a way we're in the same level of like development as them, but we're way more talented and winning more. So let's keep it not twisted and realize the positives of what's going on, even though we've been losing lately. Oh yeah. Kenny, greetings everyone. Greetings everyone. I have a feeling you come into the room really grandiose and with your arms outstretched. Greetings everyone. I want to believe that that's how you would do that if we were all in a room sitting together right now. Alistair's saying part Swedish. No wonder you remind me of Matt Sundin. Yeah, I love Matt Sundin. I was working at the Air Canada Center during the Sundin, Joseph, Steve Thomas years. And when we were in the playoffs a bit, those were good times. We had Vince and we had Mats, and those were our franchise dudes on the teams. And, listen, I'm Estonian, Swedish, Canadian from Manitoba. I should have fucking played in the NHL. But because I grew up in Tallahassee, I'm 6'4". I have good size and speed for a guy my height. I would have been a badass hockey player, but I never learned how to ice skate because when I moved to Florida, I was 4 years old and I played basketball. This is why I am the Raptor freak. Because if I grew up in Toronto, I might have went the hockey route. I might have been big time in hockey because I had the right height, I had the right name, and I had the right heritage because that's where hockey players come from, those countries. And it never happened. I'm not a hockey player. I'm not into hockey. I grew up in Florida and I became a basketball Raptor freak. Oh, yeah, that's how it happened, baby. Monique's saying, play the right way and we got this in the bag. Go Raptors. That's right, Monique. Like they got to really look like they're synergized on offense, not so awkward, not so running into each other. Get your spacing right. Get these passes more simple, precise. Have a game plan. Like I keep saying, you guys look like you don't have any idea what you want to do and accomplish on the offensive end. Have some mini goals. Have some like in the moment, like Pascal said, well, this guy's showing something. I could back this guy down and shoot over him. Do that kind of stuff more. Have some meaning in what you're doing with your body and have some mini goals and make smart decisions, not make it so hard on yourself. Because that's part of why y'all are struggling on offense. You're making it harder on yourselves than you have to. Go back to those easy bread and butters, give and go, pick and roll, screen and roll, all that good stuff that's happening when we get good shots from it. Oh, yeah. Banana Bread 10 saying Gary Trent Jr. to the bench was about your comment earlier that we needed a shooter off the bench. It's more of a matchup lineup thing. I'm just trying to get creative because Fred and Pascal is enough firepower. Yeah, I thought about this too. Like we those were the two names that we kept thinking like, well, if people are all healthy, who gets to sit on the bench? And we kind of figured it out that it's just going to be Fred, Gary, Pascal, OG, and Scotty starting is that regular main roster lineup for the starting lineup when everybody's healthy. But we talked about Scotty possibly coming off the bench because of rookie endurance issues and possibly helping him and helping the bench with all-around good play because he's really a glue guy. And then Gary, just to help how bad our bench scoring is. You bring Gary off the bench and your bench scoring gets better. Just because he's a scorer and he comes off the bench, then it's bench scoring. That's why this whole bench scoring versus starter scoring is so stupid. Because it's all the same scoring anyway. It's just that Nick Nurse really, really puts his best 5 players who are available any given night in the starting lineup. So that just means whatever's left over becomes our bench scoring. And that's why it's been so anemic in some ways, is that the talent is getting pushed right to the starting lineup on every given night. So the very best players that are available are starting. And that's why that we're not getting bench points. See, I like I said earlier, I understand you're just clarifying why you said that earlier and you don't believe it. And you're just trying to come up with ideas to try and help and stuff like that. I totally get what you're saying, Banana Bread Tan. But yeah, like I said, they jerked him around too much in Portland that there's trauma from that. And we don't want to open up that trauma for Gary here. We want him to trust Nick Nurse and our team that we're going to give him the opportunity to succeed. And if we yank it away from him all of a sudden in some moment, that may do a lot of damage to him, because that is something that really hurt him. He was depressed in Portland. They really didn't get on the same page with him. He did not like being there. And he loves being here and he loves the way things are going right now. All right, here we go. Tom Duke's giving him Sadurashan Raja Guru. Raptors go win. That's right. Tom Duke is getting on this guy. I mean, what is this guy? He's going to pop in here and say this real quick and then pop back out. Listen, man, I don't know what kind of guru you are of what. You may be just like that guy out in Portland, that had that commune, and these cults are weird. I don't know. Anyway, Chriscom saying Raps by 6 today. Okay, great. Chriscom has given us his ESPN prediction. He's got it out of the ether. He's figured it out. He's caught this number, and he's saying that the Raptors going to win by 6. For the 6, the 4-1-6. Do it tonight in Cleveland. Cleveland they're having their all-star hangover. They're not as good as they thought they were. They've been losing. They've lost 6 out of their last 7 games. They've been losing to Detroit. They've been losing to Atlanta. They've been losing to Charlotte. They've been losing to Minnesota. They're losing to teams that we've beaten, and we've also got beaten by recently. We need to show that because in a way, they're similar to us also. They're another one of these teams that are trying to figure it out in development, just like Orlando and Detroit, and they've had success to a degree. And I want to see us kick their ass tonight. We owe them so much. Losing by 1 point the first time we played them, then that joke of a game that shouldn't have been played where we played with 4 of our regular players and 4 G League players, 8 players altogether, and we got blown out by like 50 points. That was embarrassing. So we owe them. We have not beat them this year. We get to play them 2 more times. We play them again 1 more time in 2 weeks from now. So we win tonight and we beat them the next time. That's an even series, and that's what we want. We want to have an even series with them because this is a team that's close to us in the playoff race. A tiebreaker may become a factor with Cleveland, so we need to think about that. Banana Bread 10 saying, yes to Lou Dort. Give me that kid. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have more Canadians. He's a baller. We want more guys like him. He could be really good on the Raptors. You're right. Monique saying Gary will be bouncing back tonight. Let it be tonight. Yes, it's going to happen. It's not a matter of if it's going to happen. It's just when is it going to happen again? Honestly, his rhythm looks better. It's just he's shooting a little strong. Like he seems like he's hitting the back of the iron a lot, and it's getting like a strong brick, a 45-degree angle brick from just hitting the back of the iron. So Gary, dial it in and zone in and get that laser focus and get it right. I know you're going to get it tonight. Because one of the things Gary Trent Sr. said in this podcast recently is about how much work that Gary Trent Jr.'s put in and how much dedication he has put in to being a good player and a good shooter and stuff like that. That is the kind of stuff that makes him the good shooter that he is. And shooters are going to go through slumps sometimes, and he's just happening to have one right now. I'd much rather him go through a poor shooting slump and get out of it within the last month of the season and kick ass in the playoffs than have a really good end of the season and start slumping in the playoffs. Let's get him out of this slump now and get him feeling good going into it, because that in a way is momentum. And that could be good, helpful momentum to us, because sometimes it's not about where you've been doing in the middle of the season. It's how much momentum you have coming out of the end of the season, the last few games and coming in. If you're in the zone with your team then and you get in the playoffs, that's really good. So that's what I'm looking at. Let's get him. He's slumping now, better now than later. That's what I'm saying. All right, Fred should play. He didn't aggravate it. They just basically resting him. Yeah, that's what I say. They're resting him. They're being overly cautious. It didn't get better over the All-Star break like he hoped. It's probably because he was active too much, moving around too much. Maybe that three-point shootout and playing in the All-Star game did not help him. And then he came back and he tried to play after, and it's like, no, you should just let him sit and just really get it healed. But I really think that he sees that the team needs him badly. After losing to the worst 2 teams in the Eastern Conference, the last 2 games, he's probably got a real gumption and a motivation to play tonight. And it's not him that's going to tell him he can't play. It'll be the team that tells him he can't play. He's going to say he wants to play, and he'll be out there. Even if he's really hurt and he shouldn't, he will be out there. It's them telling him not to. So hopefully he does show up. We really need him tonight, because Andrew's saying it right here. This Cavs game is really important. It could determine whether we can compete for the 6th seed or not. Yes, it could determine a lot of things. We really are at a crossroads in the season right now with these last couple losses. What team are we going to be? Are we going to be going in this trend continuing for the rest of the end of the season, or can we get back to where we've been for most of the season? And that's a winning team that wins a lot. And that's really going to be tough with this road trip right now. That's the thing. We get past this road trip, even if we completely shit the bed on this road trip. I'm hoping we can get 3 out of 6 wins on this road trip. That's what I'm hoping. Because I look at it, all right, we beat Cleveland tonight, we beat San Antonio, and then we beat the Lakers maybe once out of the 2 times we play them. Or we get 3 out of we beat the Lakers in LA. Yeah. And then maybe we lose the Clippers, the Nuggets, and the Suns. That we get 3 out of 6. I'll be very happy. I want to get half the games on this 6-game road trip if we can. But that's the thing. That after we get done with this road trip, the games are a little bit easier going out for the rest of the season. It's just this part's going to be really tough. This part coming up right now is going to be really tough, and we're in a bad place. That's the scary thing. Let's see. I'm a fun guy. Who said Raptors will lose? Shaking my head. Very disappointing to hear that. Yeah, this guy, he just came in here. He ran in here, said something real quick, and he did say something informative. Fred VanVleet is questionable, but of course we knew that. And then he ran right back out of here. Where are you, man? I want to hear you write some more on here because I want to, that's too easy to just like dismiss and say you're a pessimistic fan. You're not supposed to be here. But yeah, that is disappointing. Let's figure out who this guy is. Anyway, Ken A, please keep Fred VanVleet resting and healing for a little longer. No rush yet. Okay, so we have two sides of things here. Some people are saying err on caution, keep him out, keep him fully rested and fully healed. And some people are saying we need him. We got to get him out there. We need him to win. We need to get these wins still. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. You know what? I think he's ready. I honestly think he's ready. This is almost a week that he hasn't played basketball. So it is a week, honestly. It's over a week. So, yeah, let him come back. I think Fred should be back tonight. That's just my educated opinion on watching basketball for a long time and understanding injuries. I think Fred's going to suit up. G saying Rap starters are some of the best in the entire league. Once they tweak and develop the bench, they'll be even more fire. Yeah, this is true. Our starting lineup is stacked as far as talent and just badassery, and that we just need that depth. And if we do that this summer and we get some good depth pieces off our bench, look out next year. Some of these predictions that people are saying where we're going to be number one in the East could come true. Oh, yeah. I'm a fun guy. Facts. G, our starters are set for future. We need a strong bench and rotational players. Yeah, the core is there. We like the core. We didn't make any trades at the trade deadline. We like the core, and we just want to put some little pieces around it, try and get the right guys around it. We were hoping that guys like C. Mahalik could step up this year and be those guys. And we know we may have to reshuffle things this summer and get really more established guys, not guys that we're trying to develop alongside the core guys that we're already trying to develop. We need guys that are established to balance out the development with the other guys also. Like Thad Young is an example of established kind of guy. We need more of those kind of vets off the bench with him, at least. Yeah, because we have too many guys that are trying to develop and learn all at the same time. And that's what happens. Games like Orlando, where we don't have anybody stepping up because they're all in development and they're still learning. So Monique saying episode 2 of Hustle Play is now live with Delano. Yeah, such a good episode, Monique. Didn't you enjoy it? I wish Chris, I understand why he's not cussing as much in this one, but it's an interesting show. They really are way more open than maybe they need to be. Like I was wondering if they could get a fine if they actually name like Tony Brothers on there. Like when they asked him about the refs, if he had said like, yeah, Tony Brothers is full of shit, like on that podcast, would Chris get a fine for that? I'm wondering that. I think that they would still because it's public and it's out there and he's criticizing the officials and stuff like that. But yeah, highly recommend. That's a must watch. Like if you want to make your Sunday a Raptors Sunday, go watch those podcasts with Delano and Chris and the Gary Trent Sr. interview, and then watch the 905 at 5, and then watch the Raptor game. Let's make it a full day of Raptor freaking out. Oh yeah, baby. Woo! All right, let's see. I'm a fun guy saying, bro, if we beat Cavs without OG, oh my, yeah, we want to beat them without guys. Because then it feels good when we get these guys back and stuff. We just want to beat them. There's so many reasons why I want to beat Cleveland. In a way, Cleveland is an annoying team to me. Like, in some ways, they shouldn't be such a pest. For so long, they've been so crappy. And then when they have LeBron, they're good. But then, like, they're crappy without LeBron. And they're just like a losing sports city. Like Toronto and Cleveland have had that mentality or that moniker as being loser sports cities because of different things. Well, Toronto isn't anymore, in some ways because we won the championship, the Blue Jays and stuff like that. But Cleveland has had a lot of futility for their sports team other than that one championship the Cavs got recently. Otherwise, they've been a loser city for sports. And they're annoying. They're annoying at this point because they actually do have a good record against us in the NBA because of LeBron in those years. And I just hate Cleveland in some reason. I'm more and more hating them. Like I hate them more because of the All-Star weekend too. And I hate them more just because of this rookie matchup between Mobley and Barnes. I really don't like Mobley at this point because I want Barnes to beat him in the Rookie of the Year. And that's another whole mini drama in this whole thing tonight is Scotty couldn't head and shoulders above show himself to be superior to Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, and Cade Cunningham in the last two games. Maybe he can do it against Evan tonight. Really show a big difference between his game and Evan Mobley's game. That'd be really good if that could happen. G saying, "Oh my God, these Florida stories." Yeah, maybe in the off season, I'll do like when I'm looking for content. Maybe I'll do a Florida story, Florida man stories hour, and I'll just talk about some of the crazy, weird ass shit that I've seen in Florida. Because I have some crazy friends down there too, and crazy stuff that I've seen, like Florida man kind of stories. Oh yeah, you might get some of those. We might have Florida man story hour or something sometime this summer. I'm a fun guy. We can win the championship this year. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. I'm a fun guy. I have money on this. I believe in it still. It's still in the realm of possibility. We just got to get all the ducks in a row and just get in that right place and have the right momentum, and it can still happen. Sure. I'm a fun guy saying, "Do you know the concept of a Florida man?" Yes, of course I know Florida man. I'm friends with Florida man. I am a Florida man at some points. Like there's part of me that is very Florida man-ish and very fucked up in that way. It's just an unfortunate byproduct of being a product of the Florida public school system and just growing up there. I moved there when I was 4 years old and I stayed there until I graduated from FSU as a senior at FSU. And I was there in Tallahassee the whole time. And I came back to Toronto a week after I graduated from FSU. And I've been back here pretty much most of the time since. But yeah, Florida man is such an interesting legend. I mean, all the memes, I can tell you right now, everything you hear that Florida man did in Florida, they did it. This is not embellishment. This is not a fairy tale. This is not made up shit. Florida man is out there doing what you're hearing that he's doing, whatever crazy shit it is, whether it's throwing an alligator in a Wendy's drive-through through the window, whatever they fucking said Florida man did, he did it. And so did Florida woman. She did that too. She got up on top of the hood of the cop car on crack and pulled her top up in the middle of a Tampa intersection with all the traffic around her. Yeah, Florida woman did that too. Oh yeah, I know, because I know these people. I grew up around them. I'm friends with a bunch of them still. I love those crazy motherfuckers. They're badasses. Yeah, Florida man. I'm a fun guy. I remember my car chases when I had no insurance. I can relate. Yeah, see, listen. Oh man, listen. Maybe I shouldn't talk too much about like my criminal past on here and stuff like that. But a lot of it's way past this. Like I don't know the statute of limitations on some of the shit that I did in the '90s. Because that's really when I was really bad, was when I was drinking and in the 90s. And since I quit drinking in 2010, I haven't gotten arrested since. Thank God. So, that maybe be a correlation is my drinking and getting arrested, this kind of married together. That's what was going on. Andrew saying, Alexi, the hockey freak, alternate timeline. I don't know what would have happened if we had never moved to Tallahassee and then I'd stayed in Toronto and grew up here in Toronto like other Toronto kids. If I had played hockey and stuff like that, like seriously, I feel like I have the genes. I really have quickness. Like for being somebody 6'4", I'm very quick and fast and light on my feet and athletic. Like the other thing that the other alternate timeline that could have happened that I should have said yes to was I could have became a pro wrestler. Like I really feel like I could have been a pro wrestler, a good pro wrestler, but I wasn't smart to knowing that the business was fake and you're not really getting hurt and all this kind of stuff. But there's some ways I had the right body and the right agility to be a good pro wrestler also. And I missed the boat on that. A guy found me, a scout for pro wrestling, found me when I was working in the Velvet Underground in the early 2000s. He saw me busting the floor and how quick I got around getting the beer bottles in the crowd and just how agile I was and how tall I was. And he's like, you could be a wrestler. You're so agile at your height. And he's thinking like Barry Windham and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, no, I couldn't be a wrestler. I'm so skinny. I don't have no muscles is what I was thinking. He's like, no, you could do it. He's like, I told Ric Flair that too, like 30 years ago or something. I'm like, what? You know Ric Flair? And he's like, you don't know Ric Flair. I didn't believe him. But now that looking back, I do believe this guy, that he probably did know Ric Flair and like the way the nature of wrestling is and being smart to it and stuff. I was just not smart to it at that point. And if I'd been more smart to it and I could have grabbed that brass ring at the time and said, yeah, train me to be a wrestler when I was in my early 20s, who knows? These are all these alternate timelines and stuff. I'm actually really glad that I'm the one that I am right now, that I am the super freak, super fan for the Raptors, and that I'm supposed to be with the Raptors. This just feels right. It just feels right. Oh, yeah, this is the right way it's supposed to have happened. Monique saying, just a reminder, don't lose hope, Raptors fans. Please, there's too many downers in the last few days. There really is. Monique is carrying a really important message, and this is why this channel exists. Because I knew with the team that we had on paper going into the season that we were going to find success and failure in equal hands. That we were going to have times that are going to be like this, where everybody's going to just jump off the ship and say the Raptors suck. They're not going to make the playoffs. We're a horrible team. And then also we're going to see really badass like 8-game win streaks and stuff like that. And to balance it all out, I said, I want to make this channel a positive space for Raptor fans who believe in their team and are sick of all the fucking bullshit that they hear from other fans. All the stupid negative shit and talking down on the team and stuff, kicking them while they're down, making fun of them, not really being real fans. And that's why I had the motivation to start this year, because I knew this year was going to be 50-50, that there were going to be hard times and there were going to be good times, and that we need to balance it out and keep something positive going in the right direction, like Monique and I do all the time. We are really strong light beacons in the Raptor fan nation to continue to stay positive and understand this is what Monique says. It's a part of our DNA. It's a part of us is winning. And that is always what ultimately we're always working towards, and we will get to, and that we don't give up. We don't lose faith in Masai and Bobby Webster and our players, that they are going to get the job done eventually. It's going to happen again. I'm a fun guy. Our all-time record after All-Star break is horrible. We will pick it up even without OG. Yeah, this is something that I kind of remember and noticed. Some people have been talking about it, that like we always come back flat from the All-Star break. Like historically, we've had bad games. And another one of these weird things that's going to happen in the next 2 weeks is the time's going to change, y'all. And they always do this shit to us with the schedule. We end up going on this West Coast trip and we play the Lakers always right around when spring forward happens. Because that's the thing. We're getting time, daylight savings time is going to happen, and it's going to switch where we lose an hour. And not only that, we're traveling between time zones from like Denver to LA, and we lose hours in that way. So their time clock is going to be all fucked up from this West Coast trip, because the time's going to change and they're dealing with time zones. And that's part of the reason why they scheduled the Laker game in Toronto the way they did, is they wanted the LeBron and the Lakers to have an equal chance against us, with us all coming back at the same time and dealing with these issues with time changing that way. Because that one game where we come back and play the Lakers here at Scotiabank Arena, and then we go right back on the road, that smacks of that fucking Denver game that we had recently that we lost by 1 point. That we're on the road for these long stretches. We have 6 games on the road. We come back for 1 game against the Lakers, and then we turn around and go back on the road for 3 more games after that. It's fucked up, because that game in the middle is not really a home game at that point. It's like a game wedged in the middle of a road trip, and that's set up for us to lose. That's why they schedule it that way. They want the time change to affect both teams, so there's no unfair advantage where we're sitting at home and the Lakers are having to go through a time change. And then also, it always fucking happens. We get a West Coast trip during the time change daylight savings, and that is something that'll do weird things to your biological clock and things like that. That's part of the reason why they put our playoff games sometimes at noon on Saturdays, first game of the playoffs. Is that's a weird time and a weird thing for our body rhythms. We're conditioned all season to play at 7:30 at night. And then they fucking make you play at noon, the first important real game of the season. See, that's dirty shit. And that's one of the things I don't like about this West Coast trip that's coming up. Daylight savings time in the middle of it. Let's watch and see how that jerks us around. And let's see how we do against the Lakers. I hope we kick the shit out of them both times we play them, no matter what. But they are trying to game it to make it easier for LeBron to beat us. They are, the way they set it up. Look at it. You'll know what I'm saying. When you see it, you'll see it when you look at it on paper. Like, it's a crazy way they set up the Laker games. It really is. Let's keep going. But I agree. They're going to figure it out. fun guy. OG, we can do it with or without OG, and it'll happen sooner than OG comes back within the 2 weeks. I think hopefully it'll just start happening tonight. That we show a better effort tonight, we get the W tonight, and we go to San Antonio with some momentum in the possibility of beating them also. So yeah, it'll be really interesting. All right, let me see what's going on here. Monique's saying utilize Yuta more. When he came in, I saw a different energy. Yeah, we need we forgot he's that stick of dynamite, break in case of emergency. Get him out there if we're flat and we're not making an effort. He will show the way. He will be the role model for the other guys. I'm a fun guy saying we've signed Armani Brooks. I don't know who that is. I'll check on this. This is good. This is good. If we've signed a new player, I'd like to learn more about them and understand what's going on here. Yeah, who is this guy? I don't know anything about this guy. I'll have to find out about it. DJ's getting released. Oh, no. Due to injury, DJ. That sucks. So we're releasing DJ Wilson. We're bringing in a new player named Armani Brooks. Fun guy seems really excited about this. I'm going to need to learn about him. I've never heard this name before, so I have no idea who he is. Yeah, it's too bad about DJ. He can't catch a break. He has COVID too the other time. Yeah, every single time he gets a 10-day contract, he can't play for us, and that sucks. Maybe it's just some sort of forces out there saying DJ Wilson should not be a Raptor. That it's just that is what the way the world is showing because of the outcomes and things that are happening. It's too bad. But yeah, I'm excited about this. I'm going to have to do some research on this new player. Raymond Jacobs saying maybe DJ can come back for another 10-day after Armani is done. I think it's because DJ hurt his knee and is out for who knows how long. Yeah, that probably is what it is. It's like we brought him in on a 10-day because we need that guy to fill it in. Well, if he can't be there to do it and we still need the bodies, then that's probably why we made the signing today for this guy. And it may show that these guys that we think may come back today may not be coming back. Maybe Fred isn't still coming back because we still need to bring in guys. Because we activated Isaac Bonga, and he was available to play for the main roster the last couple games also because of so many injuries and stuff like that. So G saying your wrestling name could have been Florida Man. Listen, when I was younger, I had long blonde hair. I would have been kind of like Alex Wright. That's Wonderkin. This really skinny, tall, blonde guy is what I would look like out there. Giovanni saying $1.84 a liter here at the pumps. That's here in Toronto. Yeah, the gas prices. Listen, all right. If anything with Ukraine and Russia and we're learning right now is one of the things that we're doing is supporting Putin and the Russian oligarchs by having gas economies. We need to get off fossil fuels like this because if we get away from oil and gas, then we don't support dictators like Putin because really it's oil and gas that he lives off of, that his riches come from. So why can't we as consumers, we've already got so many good reasons to get off oil and gas. These prices you're talking about, the climate change, the pollution, the things that we're killing ourselves with our own bullshit. In so many different ways. This is something we've been needing to phase out for so long already. We keep talking about it. Well, there's more motivation to do it now because we're supporting a dictator who's oligarch, who's taking over parts of Europe by being gas and oil people. So we need to get off the teat of that fucking oil and stop supporting madmen like the Saudi Arabians, like all the bullshit in the Middle East and all the bullshit with Russia. And this is a great motivation for this. So instead of complaining about how high the gas prices are, because that's inflated bullshit that they're doing because of the war, let's just get off fucking gas. Because that is what the lifeblood is for Putin. We could hurt him so bad if we just all stop driving more, stop buying gas more, stop being involved in that kind of industry. The more we get away from gas and oil, the better off this planet will be for all kinds of different reasons. And if there's any motivation for it, it's the current events and what's happening in Ukraine right now, more so even. They can boycott Russia in all kinds of different ways. WWF doesn't deal with them anymore. NBA is not dealing with Russia anymore. Why don't we boycott them by not buying gas and not doing that kind of industry and that kind of way of the world anymore? Let's get past the oil days of this world. That will help balance some power out because that's part of the power structure. They want us to continue to need gas and oil for our cars because that's what keeps these really stupidly crazy rich people rich. And when we change that, all that game is up for them. That's why they don't want to change the status quo. Well, the status quo needs to be changed for environmental reasons, for war reasons, for Russian oligarch reasons, all these goddamn reasons. There's a lot of good reasons for us to get off oil. So, yeah, that's what makes me think that, Giovanni. Giovanni's our money guy. I love Giovanni. He always brings in the perspective of the economics. He's like our economics dude. And yeah, but that's what I have to say to that, Giovanni. Just pure and simple. That is the answer to that. We need to stop driving on gas. We need to get more electric. We need to find alternative sources for energy. And then we can fucking stop empowering madmen like fucking Putin. It's that simple. Raymond Jacobs saying alternate timelines. Leafs freak, Jays freak, Argos freak, WWF freak. Yeah, man, this is getting very Rick and Morty, isn't it? Very Rick and Morty here. Top of top 21. The only avenue to getting another superstar to play alongside Scotty is to trade Pascal with a first rounder. Listen, I don't like this. I think that what we got is what we need. So often fans are just too much like not happy with what we've got. And they're always looking and saying, what do we need? What do we need? What do we need? Well, in a big way, in our core, we don't need anything. We've got the pieces already here. It's really the side pieces, the extra pieces, the bench pieces that we need to figure out. That I like our starting core. I like our starting five. We can keep the top 7, 8 guys that are in our rotation right now for as long as we can. That's good because they can win and do it themselves. We just need to add maybe a center, maybe some more good scorers off the bench, and we're going to be there. Don't get it twisted. We're not as far away from being really good. And it's not going to take like a big superstar move, like bringing in a superstar to add to the whole mix like normal. It may in the midseason, like close to the championship, kind of Mark Gasol kind of move way. Maybe then, like if you're really close and you really want to make sure that you have a good chance to try and win a championship, you do that midseason move, like the Mark Gasol trade. But for the most part, the core we've got is the one, and we don't need to mess it up too much by bringing in a very high usage superstar that may take away from these other guys, because I like who we got. And I think that superstar that's coming up to stand beside Pascal as Fred is obviously Scotty. That is, the more and more we rely on him to be a go-to guy in our offense and direct the offense through him, the more we're going to see that he is the guy you're actually talking about that we may need to get, is that he's already here. And it's just he's got to step into those shoes more as time goes on. So, yeah, that's the way I look at it, top of top. It's like I don't like to think that we need superstars or need to do things like the Lakers or the Nets, these teams that try and accumulate all these guys. Because in some ways, that's a faulty way of building because you're just building by names. And we see that the Lakers' success is like this year with building by names is what it is, what they get. You really want pieces that interlock and work together, and some of it's roles and role playing between each other. And I really like that our guys don't butt up too much into each other's games too much. Like Pascal, Fred, OG, Scotty, Precious, all these guys have games that kind of interlock well together and can work together and not take away from each other too much. So, yeah, but Banana Bread Tan saying, why are you trading Pascal? What superstar does what Pascal does? Exactly. That's what I always say too. Like, I know people have been so hard up to trade Pascal for a couple of years now for different reasons, stuff like that. Let's just stop. He's part of our team. We are getting all these gains now from his superstardom that he's gone through the tough times. We've had the negative times. Let's get the fruits of this rewards of believing in him and continuing to develop him instead of trading him right before he's going to just explode and be completely awesome. Because he is really like that. He's going to be a consistent superstar night in, night out very soon. He's shown more of that this year than ever this year, like consistently being top level. And that's why I agree with Banana Bread 10. Why are you want to trade him? Don't trade Pascal. Don't trade any of them. I'm telling you, we just want to add by addition, no subtraction right now. Raptors super fan Monique is saying it's the All-Star Funk. Yes, the All-Star Funk. It's so dumb. I don't even want us to go to this All-Star anymore. Let's stop having the All-Star break anymore. Can we put it at the end of the season like the Pro Bowl and just like have it not be an issue in the middle of the season? Because like I understand some people really like the break, but because this season's been so weird with COVID and different things and different breaks at different times, we didn't really need the All-Star break this year. It kind of just broke our momentum up, and it sucks. Tom Dukes, once again, another person echoing this. No to trading Spicy P. I think we have a couple superstars in the making, if not Pascal himself getting even better. That's the thing. That's why you don't want to trade guys like Fred and Pascal that we've obviously invested in and we picked as franchise keepers. Keepers. We don't let them go like guys like Lowry and Powell. We kept those guys because this is the thing. We've seen an exponential rate of growth and development in their games already, and they haven't stopped growing. That's the thing. We thought they had a ceiling, and this is just as good as they can get. But no, these guys are tinkering and they're going even further and deeper into their games. And they're going to get really even more and more clutch, even more and more veteran savvy at their younger ages, like 27. They're right around 27, these two guys. And they've got their 30s. They've got prime years ahead of them, and they're already ahead of schedule with who they are and what they're doing. So, you don't give that up. All the gains from Pascal and Fred are like gains from nothing. And you trade them for something. It's like you built something out of nothing. Why do you want to trade that? Keep getting the gains from it instead of doing that. In economics and business, Giovanni will tell you, if you can get something going for nothing and you organically made it yourself, that's the best way to make profit. And it's a similar way with talent. If you can get that from nothing and get that talent to continue to grow and keep going, that's a huge thing. So, no, you don't want to trade those two, especially. LeBron had to score 56 points last night to win against the Golden State Warriors. I know, that's crazy. Something had to give. Because listen, the Warriors are sliding too. So let's not get it twisted. It's not like the Lakers overachieved and beat a really good team. Draymond Green's been out for the Warriors recently, and he has proven to be their heart and maybe the most important Warrior for them to win. That they need Draymond in the lineup to actually win. They can't do it with Clay and Steph and just them running around shooting because they don't have the defense without Draymond in the lineup. And that's part of what happened there. And yeah, it's hilarious that LeBron had to go get 56. I'm sure he worked real hard for that. And that felt real good to get that W. But, that's almost in some ways pathetic also. So, because that's just the state of the Lakers, that he has to do that kind of shit like that. So, yeah, it's hilarious. Monique saying, I hated the Raptors playoffs at 1 p.m. I hate it too. It's like just not natural. It's bullshit. It's like they did it on purpose. And honestly, that was part of what was contributing to us losing the first game of playoff series every single time. That whole C word. I won't say that word again. That we had the supposed first game of the playoff C word that we had for a while. I didn't believe in it. We exercised that by sweeping the Orlando Magic and that once, or the Nets in that one series, and also we've won the first game of playoff series since then. So we've proven that that's not a true thing. But yeah, that 1 o'clock start messes up your weird biorhythm of way you schedule your day, that you have to go in and play so early. It really can fuck up a team. And it's a sneaky way of messing up a team in a way too. Raymond Jacobs saying Armani is a 6'3" shooting guard. Okay, this is good. Hopefully he's hitting his shot and he can contribute right away. Alistair's very sad for DJ. I'm pretty sad for him too. It's just what it is. I guess that when they looked at his knee, it wasn't getting better fast enough. They cut their losses, say this guy's not going to be able to help us in this 10-day period. So got to bring somebody else in. It's too bad. It's just a tough break. G saying, Tapa, statistically, Raptor starters are one of the best core in the league. The bench is last and will be tweaked and developed. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, our starting five, you match it up against any starting five in the league, you're going to have a good shot. Like if you could only play 5 players in that whole game, there's no bench involved. You just play 5 guys the whole time. We're going to do good because we have really good 5 starters and stuff like that. So, yeah, I believe in them. G's saying DeMar is 32, just for example of how a few more years of hard work pays off, and these guys are 28 and under. Yeah, just imagine what Pascal's going to look like at 31 or at 30 even, just in like 2 years from now. I think it's going to be quicker because in some ways he has to be the man right now. He's our franchise guy. He's our money guy. He's our $30 million man. When he shoots free throws, I say, come on, Money. That's my nickname for him. I call him Money because he's the money man. And the money man needs to be money at the free throw line and money in clutch situations. And that's who he is. And that's who he's ready to take that mantle and try and be strong with it. That last game we played, he was the only good thing going for the Raptors for the most part. He had a good game. He did his part. So he's going to continue to do that. These days of where Pascal just completely disappears and doesn't do anything in a game, he's a non-factor, are gone. Even if he's not scoring, he's going to be really good on defense and he's going to help us in team ways. So I think he's going to continue to be really good scoring. I just want him to make better decisions in the moment. Like, stop forcing yourself into double and triple teams and really look for the open guy, because you're seeing your teammates are open around you and you're still trying to force shots up when you could easily pass it to somebody outside the 3-point line and they get an open shot. So Pascal, look for that, please. Banana Bread Tan saying people don't get what we have in Spice and Dice. Yes, we've got the hot and we got the confidence. It's like, bet on yourself and, go to the basket and make a hot, spicy spin. These dudes complement each other. They came up together. They're such a tight duo. They really are good friends. There's no friction in there. They work well together. There's an accrued history of time on the court together. They won G League championship together. They won NBA championship together. These kind of teammates and bonds, you don't want to break them up. So Fred and Pascal, they're off the table. I've said this before. The championship 4 players are off the table. OG, Chris, Fred, and Pascal. Those guys are the 4 guys with rings that are still on the team, and we need to keep that winning attitude and that vibe from 2019 on this team, and that lives on through those 4 dudes. So they are important premium guys you don't frivolously talk about moving or trading, because you take away a lot of intangibles when you do that. Like, we lost a shitload of intangibles with Kyle Lowry leaving. We really did. We lost all the charges. We lost some of the respect in the league overall because of what Kyle carries with him. And it's shown at times. It's hurt us at times. There have been a couple games that I think we would have won this year if Kyle had been on our roster still. But it is what it is. That's what we will need to realize, is there's certain intangibles that Fred specifically, Pascal, and OG, they bring to our team that they're way more valuable on our team than shipping them out to get a prospect of somebody else coming in, possibly working with us. So, yeah. OG is our Draymond in a way. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's a pretty accurate way of putting it, G, that our defense is really a lot more solid with OG out there. Yeah, Andrew's saying we exercise the Bulls C word too. Yeah, I just don't like that C word, man. I just don't like it. Like, it's not a place in sports. I was really disheartened to hear Chris Boucher describe what's going on with Detroit as that on his podcast. Because if you're thinking that on the inside on the team, Chris, that's what's going on. No. Like I said, Coach Casey loves us. He is not a voodoo man. He's not trying to do anything with dolls or cauldrons or bat wings or anything like that to our team. He's just coming in with an expert insight and expertise about our playbook. And he's really kind of one of the first architects that built the building here. So, of course, he knows where all the building rooms are. He knows where the secret passages are in the building because he helped build the building. And it's really a lot of that. And then the other thing is the factor that's involved in the dynamics between the current Pistons team and our team is that we play this similar type of physical game, but they're more physical than us. That they have better physical players at this point, and they can out-physical us. And that's part of why they're beating us regularly, is we need to get that toughness against them. And when we meet their toughness and then we overpower them and we show that we're better on offense than them, that's how we beat them. But we haven't meeting them to their toughness, and that toughness is beating us. That's what's happening with Detroit. Monique's saying, I find with these losses, so much fans are on Nick Nurse, and some even want him fired on Twitter. So you're saying people are calling for Nick Nurse's head. Well, these people are not people that understand the whole long-term perspective of things. And Nick Nurse is so valuable. In fact, like, if we fired Nick Nurse tomorrow, he could get a job on pretty much most any other NBA team would want to have him for the most part. If their coach is not working out for them, any other team would try and hire him and get him right away after us. Like, he's a golden boy in this league. He's an up-and-comer. He's in the same league as Steve Kerr and Eric Spoelstra as far as, like, badass coaches that win. And we need to realize and be grateful that we have him at the helm as our coach, because he really is a good coach to have. Anyway, guys, wow, I'm at 2 hours. Once again, I go really long, and I didn't expect it. It was just supposed to be a preview. All right, for tonight, we got to obviously try and not allow them to beat us at the three-point line, get to them at the three-point line, and just really agitate their twin tower attack. Like, I want to see Scotty take this whole him versus Mobley thing personally and really get out there and have a huge game tonight. Like, if Scotty get 30 points tonight and like double digits and rebounds and have some blocks and steals, man, that'd be a badass game for him. And like I said, it'd be great if Fred showed up tonight, but it sounds like it may not be happening. We got a new player. I got to go scout now. And now we cut DJ Wilson. And like I said, we can make today a whole Raptors day. Go watch these interviews with Delano and Chris and Gary Trent Sr. and other. The new open gym is really badass. The All-Star Weekend open gym that just came out on Friday is a really badass episode. Also, you get to see a lot of cool stuff with them being delayed to get to the All-Star Weekend and how Fred saved them. And then there's like behind the scenes stuff with the All-Stars, like Fred talking to Steph Curry and stuff like that. And LeBron shows up in the dressing room all dressed up, and he has like a bag with his bottle of water in it. So it's a really interesting. And DeMar's on it. And at some point during the Open Gym episodes, he says, "This will be on Open Gym." And it was. And I was like, yes, it was such a callback to DeMar's days on Open Gym. And you can tell he really loves the show. And it was funny that he said that. And Fred's like, "Why'd you do that?" He's like, "Blues guys, this is going to be on Open Gym." And he was right. It was on Open Gym. So good. So good. So yeah, make it a Raptors Sunday. Go right through it. And hopefully we'll see a good victory by the 905. And then we can watch the main team beat the Cavs tonight too. Because we need some get back against them. They've got some ugly wins against us this year that I absolutely hate. We need to beat the Cavs tonight. Oh, yeah. All right. So like, comment, subscribe, share. If you really like anything I said, hit that red subscribe button. On the quest to get 1,000 subscribers. So I can open up the whole YouTube kit and caboodle of different things you can do on here and stuff like that. That's the only thing I need is just a few more subscribers. And then I'll be able to unlock the mysteries of YouTube. Ooh. All right. Let's go beat them Cavaliers. Raptor, you're walking down the street. There's a semi-truck coming behind you. Are you going to sidestep it or are you going to take it full brunt to the back? How Cavalier are you, Raptor? Let's see. Let's see. And please, Fred VanVleet, come back and play tonight. Please, we need you, man. We need you. And y'all play better on offense. And we know we can beat the Cavs. We need to win this game tonight. This is a game that is a must win at this point. It is a must win. Let's go!